Greetings and salutations, my fellow biter cyclists. It is I, Eric J. Chucky, joined as always by the Joker. And this is the Two Nerds Podcast.
In the break in between the two-parter, we figured some shit out.
Wait, hold on. I need to explain the podcast. Every podcast is someone's first. I don't know why the fuck some crazy motherfucker would go, I'm gonna watch part 2 of this podcast, but whatever. We're talking about movies. Movie homework is what we call it because we write down the quotes from the movies we like in order as we watch them. We post it on Facebook along with a cool picture. This is what we've been doing for a long time, and now we're doing mini reviews of all the movies we watched.
Because it's content.
It's content.
Alright. So, when last we left, we didn't know what the fuck the date was on any of White's movies. Because, you know, it usually is nice and dated. But the update had removed all the dates from his. Except we found where it stores them, because it's different if you're looking at your own shit. So now we can actually go back and forth as usual.
Yes, and we happen to be lined up, even though we didn't watch this movie at the same time.
We watched it on the same day.
Yes, indeedy. So let's start with you, my friend, my pal. What movie did we watch?
Sunspring, from 2016, shortly after it came out.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about.
The quote I chose was, "But I'm gonna see him when he gets to me, and he looks at me, and he throws me out of his eyes, and then he says he'll go to bed with me."
This movie was written by an AI, including stage direction. It is a fucking trip to watch.
I think that AI did a very good job.
Considering, yes, genuinely yes. It made a movie that was almost coherent.
Almost. I enjoyed it. I don't know how much I enjoyed it, like, as relative to
regular movies.
Yeah,
but as an experiment, seeing what the experiment could do, good shit.
Well, and I'm glad that people filmed it instead of just posting the first page of it on the internet or writing their own little cute weird version of a script and posting the first page of it on the internet under the guise of it being written by an AI.
You can tell the difference. Everyone who's done that, we all know. We all know the difference. It's really easy to tell.
Just pretend you're shit posting or do the My Immortal thing, you wieners.
Anyway, the next movie I watched was X-Men First Class. I have been at the mercy of men just following orders. Never again.
That looks like Shitbreak.
I mean...
Like, not always.
But the shoe fucking fits. Wear it.
Yeah, I guess. I also watched X-Men First Class. I used to think it's going to be you and me against the world, but no matter how bad the world gets, you don't want to be against it, do you? You want to be a part of it.
This was an okay period piece movie. I believe we did a podcast on it.
I think we did.
Special shout out to the utter wasting of Emma Frost. A character I don't like, but I'm still upset that you fucked around and wasted her.
And Sebastian Shaw, for that matter. I mean, and the whole Hellfire Club. And I don't know.
It was a fine movie, but again, history has been unkind to it.
Another movie that acts like Mystique is the main character of the X-Men.
No, buddy. It was Jennifer Lawrence is the main character of the movie.
I am hoping, and perhaps it is a hollow hope, but I am hoping that Disney does something better with the mutants.
I don't think it's a hollow hope. So far, they're batting just about 1,000.
Sure.
They managed to improve, or at the very least, keep up to quality every character they touch in the MCU.
Now he looks like Lieutenant Dan.
Yeah, that was intentional.
Okay.
But the next thing we watched was X-Men Days of Futures Past. I always put an S on the word future in that. Always. Every time I say it. I can't not. I don't know why. You used to be a better shot. Trust me, I still am.
Gene? You laughed at that, but it was a very poignant, sweet moment.
I know, but your delivery was hilarious.
I liked this one.
This is a much better movie.
Yeah, way better.
This has better. It has nice closures for the previous iterations of the characters, which is good. Lets you transition cleanly into better movies to follow. Oh wait,
we can't really judge. We haven't seen them. Maybe they're secretly good.
They're definitely not, but okay. Yes. I'm back on my bullshit
You
here.
are back on your bullshit here.
We found another Jason Statham movie we hadn't seen. I almost watched this one again. Like
Got a frog in your pocket there?
I was using that as the general
The
we.
royal we? the you and us, we are Venom kind of thing?
Yes, actually. But like you had to throw me off my flow, and I respect that.
Yeah, of course.
I hate that fucking phrase, by the way. Yeah, I almost watched this again like 2 months ago because I had forgotten it.
Okay, all right, but here's the thing.
That would make two. That would make two.
Yeah, this is what I'm saying. You act like these are such great movies, and I'm such a Philistine for not wanting to indulge in them, but then you're like, oh man, I almost watched this again because I forgot I watched it.
Or I did literally watch this one twice in the same year because I forgot I watched it until I was halfway through the movie.
Sounds like a stunning film.
I love these movies, but I'm not going to try and defend them. This is Wild Card from 2015. You're good friends. You're a good friend. We're friends? Don't ruin it. This is one of the better Stathams. Notably, I just forgot the title. As soon as I saw the first screen, the first actual image, I was like, oh, no, I've seen this.
Okay, that's fair. What was the plot of this movie?
He is a man with a gambling problem. Pulled into a Jason Statham scenario.
Someone gives him a car with a person in it, and he has to drive over 65 miles an hour to get it to a location full of angry Chinese people.
You are off, but only in terms of specifics. The vibe is perfect.
I think, let's say 24th, you're still ahead of me there, friend.
All right. So then I watched The Mechanic. I'm not a lefty. Then you're gonna die. Which is perfect. This is a less good entry. Notably, the sequel to this is one of the only Jason Statham movies I have ever actively turned the fuck off before finishing it, before getting even far enough to put it on the list.
That would be
The Mechanic 2.
2013's The Mechanic 2 Refixation.
I mean, it is dumber than that. But this is fine. He is an assassin. He takes on a apprentice, pictured there, to teach the ways of the assassin because he is getting out of the game.
Is that Todd from BoJack Horseman?
I think maybe, yeah. And then he does. His employers do not want him out of the game. You can kind of see where this goes.
So they send him to Shadow Moses to do one last job, and he finds his genetically engineered brother.
God, I would pay money to see.
Colt
I would pay money to see Jason Statham to play Solid Snake in a Metal Gear Solid movie adaptation, but only if he literally does not try to do the accent at all and just is Jason Statham.
That'd be such a waste of the license, which means it's likely to happen because Konami
Hell
still
yeah.
owns it. Let's see. Okay, now it's my turn. I watched Jurassic Park. The quote I chose is controversial if you're my mom.
Your mom does not listen to the podcast. That is a narrow call. Very funny.
Yeah. Well, there's a line that Dr. Hammond screams, and it is basically, the subtitles on Netflix say that it's Grant.
But he is saying,
But he's saying something. It could be Grant. That might have been what was in the script. He's got kind of a thick and also a little weird accent. Some people, Mom has said maybe he's saying John. Some people think that he says something else.
But you chose to type it as Grant, as that is what the text says.
The picture I chose was, of course, shirtless Jeff Goldblum, echoed on my desktop in Funko Pop form.
Amongst a small collection of other Goldblums.
Yes, a littler Goldblum. This is his son.
Ah, yes. Don't talk to me or my son ever again.
You are more than welcome to talk to both myself and my offspring, if you are interested in that kind of thing.
So inclined.
And then I watched. Looking how'd I get back to January? Actually, I think nope, that's the third. I watched Jurassic Park 2, The Lost World. That's not how it's titled, but whatever. Don't worry, I'm not making the same mistakes again. No, you're making all new ones.
Oh, no. I haven't seen this movie in so long.
That you forgot that the second half of it sucks?
Well, yes, that also.
I always forget.
But I think I remember that line being very serious. Like, oh, no, you're making all new ones.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It was very serious.
It's weird that Jeff Goldblum is so fucking memorable that I remember his line reads in a movie I haven't seen in it like 20 years.
This film, the first half of this film was great. The second half is not so great. And then I watched Jurassic Park. Was I living at my mom's house at this point? What the hell? Watched Jurassic Park 3, the Jurassining.
No, your mom just invited you over to watch Jurassic Park. Like,
could be. Who knows?
A bunch.
I rescued your hat. Well, that's the important thing.
It is. It's got a good hat.
That one was okay. It wasn't bad. I felt better about it seeing it recently than I did when I first watched it, because someone I was watching it with when I first watched it gave a fake spoiler.
Oh, that's a risky play. That's a risky play. Almost never worth the payoff.
Well, and I was like a teenager at the time, so of course I was extra upset because I'm so full of hormones that I cannot process simple emotions. Like if you try to jam Play-Doh through the grater thing, you're just going to break the thing.
Yep.
And not get your spaghetti Play-Doh. Anyway, then I watched Back to the Future. This is for all you lovers out there.
God, it's me, your cousin. It's the dumbest fucking part of that movie.
It's so stupid.
Oh, I love this movie. Don't get me wrong.
Fantastic.
Very stupid.
Then I watched Back to the Future Part 2. I think he took his wallet. I think we've already talked about Back to the Future on this podcast. So.
That's entirely possible.
Then I watched Back to the Future Part 3. Your future hasn't been written yet. No one's has. Your future is whatever you make it. So make it a good one.
I know we're still on you here, but I do want to make a special mention of Christopher Lloyd is a fucking national treasure.
Yes.
He's so much of why this movie.
Do you think that's what the third one's going to be about? I'm stealing Christopher Lloyd. And then it just cuts to Christopher Lloyd. Great Scott! Fund it!
Yeah. I would watch the fuck out of that. We still on you, or do we need to bounce back?
We are, for a moment, still on me.
All right.
One of my favorite suspensey horror movies, Joyride. I like the rain. Keeps everybody inside and washes everything clean.
This is actually a really fun movie.
It's really well done. Like more than I expected from it.
Yeah. So, like, if a movie manages to make me... This is the movie that did Scary Truck correctly.
Oh, yeah.
Every other instance of Scary Truck is a lesser version of this. This is Truck-kun, the gritty origin story.
It is. I just love anime, and I want to share my love of anime with people. Burn, burn!
God. I believe this is when I finally got around to watching a movie you had told me to watch a couple times, which is The Forsaken from 2001. So what's your deal? What do you do? As little as possible. This is a good-ass vampire movie.
My quote was, the quote, the lyrics to Enter Sandman, I think they were delivered very over the top and ridiculous, which is why I
think it's
them.
the end of the movie, and the protagonist is going up against Head Vampire, and Head Vampire does a spoken word rendition of the lyrics to Enter Sandman that is just so goddamn goofy, it goes right back around to being horrifying.
Yeah, it's like, oh no, this is the guy that's gonna kill me, great.
Like, one, I'm gonna get killed by a fucking tryhard. Two, he's so confident he's gonna win, he's doing this.
He's BMing on me.
This is the vampire murder equivalent of getting teabagged.
Yeah, this is one of the best vampire movies I've ever seen. It's a little cheesy, and the soundtrack is basically entirely Nickelback.
I think both those things improve it. The best vampire movie you've ever seen should be a little cheesy.
Yeah.
Every vampire movie that takes itself too seriously becomes awful. It's an inherently ridiculous concept. You gotta be willing to accept that.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that point.
Oh, God. Let's talk about this
Transporter
first.
3
Let's
wasn't
talk
great?
about this first. I watched Transporter 3. Oh, it's a good thing that we French have such a highly developed sense of humor. With all due respect, the French think that Jerry Lewis is a genius.
We still milking that joke in 2008?
Yes! They were.
Woof. Oh, wow, we picked the same fucking screenshot. That's wild.
It was the only good screenshot from that movie.
Yeah, okay.
So, we watched Suicide Squad.
Did we podcast on this?
If we did, it probably wasn't a great one, and if we didn't, it's because we didn't have enough to say. Anything we said would have been too negative, and we try not to completely shit on things on the Two Nerds podcast in long form.
Weird, because I thought Suicide Squad was a fun movie. It had some shortcomings, especially toward the end.
It wasn't perfect. It did disservice to a bunch of the characters in it. It did disservice to the concept that it was based on. And it clearly was a movie that had some editing problems. But
also had a pretty hard David Ayer problem.
God, yeah. That goes without saying, I think, at this point. Anytime I see that guy's name on a movie now, I just sort of get flashbacks. But
at least you can see a prototype for the OWCH Bright right there.
Fuck you for being right. So... God, Will Smith's in this too. Fuck! This is just where he decided this is the movie he wanted to make. It's fine. I give it shit, but it's a fine movie. It didn't need to be a Skybeam. They really could have benefited from having a lower stakes threat that more in line with the Suicide Squad. But at the same time, Skybeam's gonna Skybeam. It's a fucking movie in 2016. What do you want?
I don't remember the Skybeam trend so much, but I guess I didn't watch as many movies. My quote was, "I've got some grape soda on ice and a bearskin rug waiting."
That's a quote from Jared Leto's Joker, which I still will defend as a valid and good interpretation of the character.
Mm-hmm. I like that.
He took it a different way, and it's good. Deal with it.
Let's see. That's September. Wow, what a jump. No movies there for a while, but you on the 30th of August.
I watched Ghostbusters. Yes, it's true. This man has no dick.
I don't know that I've ever seen this movie all at once.
You've probably seen it.
I mean, in internet review clips alone, I've seen this movie.
This is a classic, dude. This is a good movie.
I'm sure I've seen it
the thing
chunks.
The thing that's the most surprising about it is that it holds up.
Yeah.
It's still good. It's not like, this is... You can tell it's of its time. So, no, the jokes are still really funny. They still land. Or at least they did 4 years ago.
That wasn't that long ago.
And yet it was so long ago.
It's been a rough 4 years. Then you watched the Ghostbusters 2.
This is not a good movie, but I love it anyway. I've worked with better, but not many.
Wow, you did a lot of movies on August 30th.
I think part of this was me catching up with movie homework.
Perhaps.
For like a couple days, couple weeks maybe. This is when I started to call it movie homework. You can tell the trend of the year starting to take hold.
Yeah, you got a little rough there. Actually, I think you started calling it movie homework at least around when we watched Texas Chainsaw.
Possibly.
I kind of remember that being a thing then.
Then I watched Now You See Me from 2013. First rule of magic: always be the smartest guy in the room. This is a really good movie about it's a heist movie with magicians as the heisters.
Yeah, that's right.
Go ahead and click to the next movie.
Okay.
Now You See Me 2. This is the best magic shop in the world. This is a really bad movie. That's a sequel to the movie before it. That was a trend, I guess, for that little section of my life.
Yes, I love the screenshot you've chosen. There's a lot of face going on.
Yes, that's why I chose this screenshot. There's a lot of faces. Everyone in that scene is reacting to a different thing happening in front of them. I think Daniel Radcliffe is the bad guy in that movie. Yeah, pretty sure he is. And I'm almost certain he's just playing Daniel Radcliffe.
I don't think he's played anything but Daniel Radcliffe.
Since Harry Potter?
Since The Woman in Black or whatever.
Good for him.
Sure.
Then I watched The Road from 2009. I have both seen this movie and read this book. The quote I chose is, "I won't forget." Here's a pro tip, if you don't already know. If you're not someone who wants to leave a theater or, at this point, home movie experience fucking depressed, don't watch this. This is not a happy film. This is an incredibly well acted, incredibly well made, very fucking depressing movie. The book's not better. Let's say less depressing. They're both excellent.
I watched The Hunger Games Mockingjay Part 1 again for some reason. Do you have any other conditions? My sister gets to keep her cat. Oh, but then I watched Practical Magic.
Much better.
Yeah. Is that the same? Where are we at? Am I still behind you? Yes, that's my birthday. And this is what comes from dabbling. I mean, you can't practice witchcraft while you look down your nose at it. It's just good advice. And then we watched Zootopia.
I don't like that pronunciation.
I'm sorry. Zootopia.
Better. Your quote?
My quote is, "Life isn't some cartoon musical where you sing a little song and all your insipid dreams magically come true. So let it go." I need to watch this movie again because I completely forgot that quote. I remember the basic plot, but...
Mine was, "It's called A Hustle, sweetheart."
It's a good movie.
It's a good movie.
Yeah.
It's a good movie with an interesting message in it.
Yeah, like, I did not expect it to get that.
I did not expect this movie. I expected it. It's a kid's movie. I expected it to try and impart some lesson. I did not expect it to be that.
Or to do it as well as it did.
No, with as much nuance.
Yes, that's exactly what I was about to say. I think we watched that separately. Ooh, but I had some movies to go here. I watched Forrest Gump for some reason.
Because it's good.
Sometimes, I guess, there just aren't enough rocks.
That's a sad line from that movie.
Yeah, deep. And then, near abouts each other, we watched the Rocky Horror Picture Show Let's Do the Time Warp Again 2016 remake.
You want to go first or should I?
Yeah, you can go first. It's fine.
The quote I chose was, "You mean she's a uh-huh."
I don't remember the delivery because it was a different acting person. But the quote I chose is one of my favorites from the original film. "It's not easy having a good time. Even smiling makes my face ache."
This is overall a vastly inferior update to the original, but I don't hate it.
It was okay. I think it would have been better if it wasn't supposed to be on primetime TV.
Yeah, I think if it was made in the spirit of the original and was supposed to be like a schlocky theatrical B movie, and thus didn't have to follow primetime TV rules, they could have done enough with the concept. They could have done enough new with the concept. Because the original one could be on primetime TV now. You know what? No, that's fair. That grumbling, that's fair. But, like, I just don't... It's not... I don't hate this. I didn't hate this experience.
It was just... I like some of the choices they made, but I also didn't like some of the choices they made.
Yeah, basically.
And a lot of the ones I didn't like were in service to the time slot.
Yeah, that's fair.
So, just...
I like knockoff Raven Simone and her amazing hair, though.
Yeah, I liked a lot of the costuming and a lot of the casting.
You know what? Actually, I think that's the reason I picked the picture I did, is I really like that costume for the character. I don't remember that character's name at all.
That's Columbia.
I like that version of Columbia's costuming way better.
I do too. I liked her characterization a little bit. I missed the original voice, but
there's more character there. I feel
there is. There's a lot. It's contemporary. They did a very contemporary version of a lot of the characters. Sometimes it worked.
Sometimes it very much did not.
Whoa!
Here we go, son. The 42nd thing I watched in 2016 was Joe Rogan, his comedy special from 2016, aptly titled Triggered.
If you were looking at the face of this man that I'm looking at, you too would be triggered.
we're in an episode of Lost. Up is down and down is up. This was a really funny comedy special by a guy who talks about DMT and chimps.
Joe Rogan's career path has been fascinating for me.
Yeah, from Fear Factor to being a commentator on UFC to being the most popular podcast host in the world.
Well, and the shit
and
he
it's
did
not close.
Before Fear Factor was also just like...
It's just, he's had
small-time acting shit.
Because he's a comedian. He's always been a comedian. But, like, he's got a weird fucking career path.
I would watch a documentary film about Joe Rogan's life.
Same. Who would play him?
Danny DeVito.
No.
Joe Rogan.
Yes! Yes! He'd do it. He'd commit, too.
Hold on. This documentary happens 20 years from now. They get Robert Pattinson. He's gotten a little bloated. Kind of like James Marsden did.
Yeah. Maybe it gets a little bloated for the part.
Yeah, even.
Yeah, I like that.
I think we could do that. Okay. We watched Doctor Strange.
When it came out, this was, I believe, when it was out in theaters. People used to think I was funny. Did they work for you? Which is just such a fire burn.
Have you seen that at a gift shop?
So I have a fun story about this movie that I wanted to tell you guys that I don't think I mentioned when we did a podcast on this. If we did a podcast on this.
I don't remember. I was very upset.
I believe we didn't because you didn't feel like you had enough to say that would have been positive.
It might be.
White doesn't like this very much. I love this movie, but afterwards we were at a restaurant because we would go to the movies. We'd go to a restaurant after we talk about the movie over a table, nerd style.
Which sounds very classy if you think we live in New York or something, but it's...
No, it was a Cece's Pizza.
Central Ohio. We're eating discount pizza loaf.
This is a good pizza. I miss that pizza loaf.
I was driving by the other day. I was talking to a friend of mine and was like, I forgot that... I was driving by the Cece's and went, man, I haven't been to Cece's in a while. I wonder why that is. And then my brain literally echoed, oh, gee, I wonder why you haven't been to the pizza buffet in a while.
This Backstreet Boys reunion tour.
Yeah.
So, we were talking over, various things about the movie, and I mentioned so there was this problem. I really like this movie. It's good. And there's this problem, and I think this movie is bad. Do I have terrible taste? I don't know that this is a good movie, but I sure do love it.
The story goes, I saw one ad for this movie and pegged most of the movie. You and I had a small argument about it, but I was right. And not in a good way. Not in a, I'm so excited to see all these things happen. It was, no, don't just do Inception with a whole city. Don't. And that's what they did. It's a neat effect, don't get me wrong, but that's not what I wanted out of my Doctor Strange movie. What I wanted out of my Doctor Strange movie was roughly the last 15 minutes of this movie. That was cool.
Yeah, he solves this. He Doctor Strange is the problem, and that's really what I love. He solves this problem. He defeats the bad guy. He is like a wizard.
Yes. And there's other scenes in this movie that are really good, and I like Wong a lot as a character. I'm not a big fan of Hubert Cumberdale, the actor. So seeing him do his fucking, what actor is that? His Tom Selleck impersonation in this role was just weird, and I didn't care for it. I say that, but I can look back in hindsight and see the Doctor Strange we've gotten after and go, I am comfortable with this casting. He's doing the Doctor Strange I wanted to see. And yes, it is super comics accurate that Doctor Strange is a fucking asshole at first. But I don't watch Breaking Bad. I don't want to watch Better Call Saul.
But unlike those things, the character arc is him learning, is him becoming better.
Sure.
Unlike all those things where the character arc is the person getting worse and worse because they keep doing worse and worse things and getting no comeuppance until the final comeuppance at the end, which does not make up for the rest of the show.
It's not comeuppance. It's just now they're dead and we don't have to deal with them anymore, basically.
Yeah, it's everyone else is better off, but there was no balancing of scales. Stephen Strange, MD, Stephen Strange the physician, is a humongous tool bucket. Intentionally so, and then he gets crushed by life and has to build himself back up into a good person.
I just don't care to see that. It's not entertaining for me.
Whereas I like it almost solely because that is the character in the comics.
Sure.
And, like, you went for it. I was worried they were going to make him not enough of an asshole beforehand.
I mean, and, like, kudos to them for, doing the arc. When I didn't want to see everything else they had to offer, and then they gave me a version of the character that was a dick.
I think a big part of it was just that it's an origin story, and you have grown past those as a person.
I guess a lot. I like origin stories to be quick, I guess.
Can we get this out of the way? Could we make the origin story of this Captain America's origin story in Captain America, which is roughly 25 to 30 minutes of this 2-hour movie?
Yeah, I just want to see you fight cool space monsters, man.
Whereas they did, like, he became Doctor Strange in the last 15 minutes of this movie.
Yeah.
So, like, yeah, from there, he's Doctor Strange. In Infinity War, he's Doctor Strange, and he acts like Doctor Strange, and he approaches problems like a fucking wizard. But this is the character, this is the arc the character has to go through to earn that.
Second problem, do you remember that Mads Mikkelsen was in this movie?
I do, he's great.
Is he?
Yeah.
Does he say anything?
Yes, Mr. Doctor.
Yeah, he does say that, I guess.
Just strange.
What a waste
Who
of
am I to judge?
Mads Mikkelsen. You could have used him for so much, and you barely used him to play the Kurgan or whatever.
He's a good Kurgan, though.
My views has softened on this movie over time, but like not in the way you'd think. Not in the it's an alright movie. No, just in I see what you were doing there. I just didn't enjoy.
I am willing
watching
to
you
accept that this was necessary. Move on.
Like when you're a parent, I assume, of a tubaist, and you have to suffer through all their bad tuba.
To get good tuba.
And then, like, you see them at a concert, and you're like, wow, they're really good at the tuba now. That's nice. I still had to listen to that bad tuba for 10 years.
Well, we've waxed fucking philosophical about this one, so let's move on.
Yes, let us move swiftly and charmingly on. You watched a John Mulaney special.
John Mulaney, New Kid in Town from 2012. And I had that thought that only blackout drunks and Steve Urkel can have. Did I do that?
I remember the story now, too. We then watched Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them.
Oh, boy.
I think this is the opposite effect of me watching Doctor Strange.
Yes, it is. It's almost the exact reverse. Put this on. Why would I have to wear something like this? Because your skull is susceptible to breakage under immense force.
That's a good answer. The quote I chose was, my philosophy is, if you worry, you suffer twice. Which, actually,
that's
good advice.
I do not like this film.
I thought it was...
I like the guy from How to Drink who's in it. People only will get that if they watch that YouTube channel, but boy fucking howdy.
I thought this was okay. It wasn't great, but it had some charm.
I'll say that. It did have charm. It had too much charm.
And it was nice to see a version of myself who's got the Asperger's instead of the ADHD. But like, I don't know. It was okay. It was fine.
Yeah, no, that's not untrue. I don't think it's a bad movie. I just don't like it.
Yeah, it really represents a turning point in the...
It represents a fundamental shift in a franchise I used to love that I no longer do. And I feel like I am more bitter at this movie than it deserves because of that.
Because, let's be honest, it was the cursed child's fault. Just nobody saw that.
Yeah. Like, this is... I recognize that this was unnecessary. I wish we could move on.
Let's see some datage here. December 17th. December 24th. So it's you, my friend.
This is a movie I keep trying to get White to watch because it's fucking
I have no hands and my eyes don't work. Why was I John Mulaney? I have no hands and my eyes don't work.
Perfect. That was 2004 Kamikaze Girls. Yes. Is the quote. This is really fucking good. This is a really good coming-of-age story about two Japanese teenage girls from conflicting cultures starting up an unlikely friendship. That's it. That's just the movie. That does not sound like a movie I would like. I fucking love this movie. It's excellent.
Cool. I'm glad. I think we probably catch up here.
Well, yeah, most likely.
I watched the short film for the music video Light Up the Night by the Proto Men. Well, a friend once told me men, they would follow any man who would turn the wheels. Now the wheels are spinning out of control. What would they do if we held them still? If you destroy the working parts, what you get is a broken machine. A beacon of light from a burning screen. Light it up. You guys have heard me on this podcast, and those of you who follow me off this podcast, wax philosophical about this fucking song to the end of the earth. And I'll continue to do so for many years to come. This is my favorite song. It's Hope.
My favorite, my favorite song of this artist is a different song on, I believe, this same album.
Mm-hmm. The Good Doctor, I believe.
Yes, it is.
And then we both did see Rogue One, A Star Wars Story. I didn't mean for that to rhyme, but here we are.
And we'll talk about that later on the Two Nerds podcast.
In a car.
No.
Okay. What's your quote?
Mine is, I'm one with the Force and the Force is with me.
I would trust her with my life. We watched The Fog for some reason.
I watched something else first.
No. We missed The
Oh,
Fog.
you did. You watched something else. You watched The Fog.
The Fog is not a good movie. There was one character in it I liked, and he was an old man who had dogs, and he was sad, and he said, "Those dogs are all I got." Otherwise, The Fog was a stupid fucking horror movie.
Oh,
Just
right then.
empty.
Just The Mist, but
Just-
bad.
Not even. It wasn't even as good as a bad version of The Mist. Because there's a bad version of The Mist. That's a different movie. This is just not good.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
I could go on about horror movies in that time frame, but let's not bother. Let's move on to Children of the Corn.
Don't ever show up in my emergency room, buddy, was my quote.
What, did you rewrite the whole thing, or just the parts that didn't suit your needs?
But he's talking about the Bible in that
Oh,
scene?
yeah.
That's a good line. This is... I actually don't believe I had ever seen this movie before.
Yeah.
It is not as different from the source material as I was led to believe it was. But it's not really all that good. I do not get why people love this movie.
They made some weird casting choices, and I feel like that's the biggest
sin the movie commits, as it were.
Like, the movie's memorable, but not for good reasons.
No.
I think this story is plenty creepy. I've never read it, because I don't care to read...
It's not the same.
Yeah. Well, regardless. Jesus, I can only imagine the paragraphs of Korn.
There are so many. It's a short story, so there's not that many, but, like, still.
What, just Stephen King's short story, that's what, 500, 600 pages?
He's actually really good at short stories. It's one he does some of his best work because
I bet, because this fucking brevity, my guy.
well, that's the thing, is he talks about it in On Writing, is that he has to be much more disciplined with the words that he uses.
Yeah. Anyway, I think this could be really scary, but this movie is not
Scary.
It's not scary.
No, it's goofy.
It's kind of dull.
Outlander, we have your woman. The South Park version of this movie is better. It's a better version. Anyway, God, I forgot about this thing. Then we watched Burying the Ex from 2014. Twinkies don't expire. Yeah, they do, every 4 weeks. Really? Then they get good again.
They put out a line of cereals based on classic monsters like Frankenberry, Boo Berry, Count Chocula, and Fruit Brute was one of the cereals, but no one bought it, so it died.
This movie's fucking terrible. Just bad. There's like no... Normally we try and find something redeeming or something good, or hey, here's some troubles, but it could, there's good... No, this is just a bad fucking movie. The acting is bad.
The writing is stupid.
The fucking cinematography is ugly.
The plot is dumb. Some of the decor is fine. So good job, set decorators, for Burying the Ex 2014.
No one else. The rest of you be sorry.
I am sorry that Anton Yelchin fucking died, so he couldn't have been in a better movie to redeem this nonsense.
Yeah.
Other than, Star Trek, I guess that was okay.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that redeems it. I know I saw that without you. Where are we here? You watched Civil War again on the 31st. I watched this on the 31st. So why don't you go first, friend?
It's Captain America Civil War, and my quote was, you're gonna have to take this into the shop. Who's speaking? It's your conscience. We don't talk a lot these days.
I saw the movie Passengers. I thought that was pretty cool. Chris Pratt and...
As I understand it, it's a fine movie.
Yeah, it's interesting. It has...
Very much The Shining.
This is what I love about sci-fi.
Like, it's got an intentional...
I mean, that's kind of an homage, but it's not as much as you'd think. The commercials made it look that way.
Okay, fair enough.
I like sci-fi that is... When I'm not talking about, like, space opera or, like, the very
Sci-fi.
action-heavy sci-fi. When I'm talking about hard science fiction, I like the shit that's very cold and alone.
Okay, that makes sense.
This movie does so much with atmosphere, and it's not like it was amazing or anything. It was neat, but it executed the material that it had so well that it elevated it up another class.
That's hard to do sometimes.
Yeah. The quote I chose was, "Jim, these are not robot questions." Actually, the best way I can explain what I like about like hard sci-fi is that I like Ray Bradbury.
Yeah, you got that across with Cold and Alone.
Yeah.
Very sterile. Very like...
Like, and the movie ends and you go...
Yes, that vibe. Like The Veld.
Yeah, exactly like The Veld. I guess I also watched Civil War.
Yep.
And I chose I Can Do This All Day this time. And that's the podcast, guys.
And that's it. That's the last movie we watched that year.
2016. We got through it. Are you proud of us?
I hope you are. I do live for your pride.
If you are proud of us, like, comments, you're not still here.
Come on. Everything's better when nerds talk about it.